And now, coming to you from the CKVS studio in Sean Jacquelin's living room, it's time for the 2021 Clash of the Corpses. Introducing first, in the red corner, a ragtag group of strangers who hole up in an old farmhouse to remain safe from an undead horde of flesh-eating space zombies. Coming in at 96 minutes, starring Dwayne Jones and Judith O'Dea, Night of the Living Dead. And in the blue corner, a tag team of warehouse workers, ravers, and one cool mortician who accidentally cause a toxic rainstorm that turns corpses into undead brain munchers. Coming in at 91 minutes, starring James Karen and Tom Matthews, Return of the Living Dead.
Ah, the French champagne.
Champagne!
The schlocky movie from this week may be the schlockiest film we've ever seen on this podcast.
I'm Mr. Pink.
Sis Blue.
So Miranda hasn't seen Reservoir Dogs.
Those men's children are all identical clones of Adolf Hitler.
Once they were men, now they are land crabs.
Amanda Bynes is a national treasure.
There's like a bunch of other shit that happens in Driven.
Is there?
Secret Nazis.
Yeah.
Secret Nazis.
And Daddy lost his eagle.
I hope
So-
no one from my family listens to this podcast.
The Citizen Kane of the week is...
Hey, welcome back. It's season 3 of Citizen Kane Versus. If you've stuck with us this far, we clearly haven't learned how to talk yet. We haven't learned how to do a podcast yet, but we're figuring it out, and this season is going to be our cleanest. It's what else? It's going to be our tightest.
Tight.
I sure hope so. I mean,
Tight.
we're off to a rocky start.
Rocky start.
Tight.
Yeah, mainly tight, according to Sean. But thanks so much for joining us. My name is Jack Rennie, and I am still joined by my two dear friends. One
Sean Jacqueline.
and the other.
Daniel Benoit.
That's going to be nice reading the mic.
Classic.
Yeah.
We're all sharing one mic now. We're finally together again.
In the same room.
In the same room.
It's way closer than we should be.
Way closer.
All huddled around a singular mic, the way it was always meant to be.
Maybe we'll live stream it soon.
Yeah, you can watch this very weird.
Watch us kiss.
Yeah, in an event that will look slightly concerning in the age of COVID, but again, fully vaccinated, no symptoms. It's all good. It's like we're sitting in a restaurant. Thanks so much for joining us. We have 2 great movies for this week. And if you're listening, this is also the brief time to say, hey, thanks so much. If you want to subscribe to us on any of your podcasting channels, that means a lot. If you want to follow mainly Sean on Twitter, he's been making fun of the People's Party of Canada, and that's pretty funny. So it's not just podcast fun on the Twitter. So check us out. Check us out on all the podcast things. And yeah, we can make money now. We have some ads. Sorry. But if you listen, that actually means we get like some cents. So
Yeah.
Thanks for the support. It means a lot if you just let those play through. I guess.
Someday we can quit our day jobs.
Yeah, unlikely, but we can dream.
Don't look at me, man. I don't know. I find the concept of a day job funny, but
Yeah.
It's true. Like any of us have day jobs.
day jobs,
Sean,
yeah.
like you have the closest to a day job.
close
I
to
guess
day
you
job.
do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a night job.
You have like a
It's a
set
night
schedule. and-
Yeah. You like get a week. I guess I kind of do too.
Yeah.
We're growing up, folks.
Yeah.
So the movies this week are The Night of the Living Dead versus The Return of the Living Dead. Some spoopy zombie picks.
Spoopy. It's back.
It's back for a couple Halloween episodes. And do we have any fun facts about these? You did a quick look.
Did a
Sean.
quick look. I discovered fun fact. Return of the Living Dead is the first movie to have zombies eat brains in particular. That they're only looking for brains. Usually it's just cannibalistic zombies, right? But this is the first movie to show them only wanting brains.
Oh.
Brains.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
it was
think-
very specific.
I think that that Night of the Living Dead
set a lot of trends for the zombie genre too, right? Like
of course, yeah. It introduced zombie as even though the word zombie is not said.
Yeah,
at any
that's
point
true. Yeah,
in the film, but it introduced the flesh-eating zombie to the zeitgeist.
Right. Although they're referred to as flesh-eating ghouls.
Ghouls.
Which is a great word.
Yeah.
And you can see the inspiration that it clearly had on all zombie-related, games, movies, any media are clearly so heavily inspired by this movie, for better or for worse. Let's just say. I have a semi-fun fact. It only sort of pertains. So, I don't know how related this is to this genre or this series, but I'm pretty sure it is. So, they're continued to make movies like Dawn of the Dead, Land of the Dead. These are all connected, I believe, to the same series.
Yeah.
And I just have this page up in front of me here of this producer, Dennis E. Jones. And I went to high school with his daughter.
Oh.
They moved up from California, and she used to tell stories about how she would be on set for she was on that one about it's called Infection or something, or Virus was another one. I think he produced Death Race and stuff.
Oh, Death Race, hilarious.
And
The Jason Statham movie?
Yeah,
or the original one.
and both. He did
Both
both.
of them.
So he did a bunch of random stuff on
cool.
here.
Yeah.
But he did some of those movies and so she was this California kid being on set, hanging out with Cuba Gooding Jr. on Virus and whatever. And that always was annoying. She'd be like, when I was playing cards with Cuba.
I like how this story went from I knew this cool person who was totally annoying.
No,
and
no,
I
no,
hated
no.
being around her.
I mean, she was fine, but it was always a bit of damn it, why do you stop talking about the time you hung out with Dustin Hoffman? Okay, I'm trying to be 16.
Yeah. I don't know who that is.
I barely can reference who that is, but it's too much for me to deal with. So I don't know how fun of a fact that is, but
It's a pretty fun fact. Have you kept in contact with her?
no, not really. Last I heard, she was
Dead. From a virus. She contracted a deadly
Yeah.
virus, and now she's a cannibal.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't believe in vaccines, but no, she was. She was free. She was just driving around the United States, and
It's nice to have money.
she was, I guess,
Isn't it?
But I think she
Isn't
was
it?
busking, doing random stuff to make a bit of money, and then she was just doing peyote, which is
peyote baked into a pie.
into a pie. So she was doing peyote and having vision quests in the deserts of California and Arizona.
And
I
have
think.
you had this pie?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that's kind of a fun fact. Anyway,
That's a pretty cool fun
so
fact,
I'm
actually.
2 degrees of separated or something from this movie.
From George A. Romero?
For sure her dad knew
Yeah.
George Romero.
Well, he would have had to. I didn't realize all those are in the same
It's
universe.
the same series, yeah.
Yeah, but don't they all
Of the
have
Dead.
different zombie catalyst moments?
Yeah, well, because he
Yeah.
he definitely changes the portrayal of the zombies to suit his narrative for the time. I think Dawn of the Dead is more a critique on consumerism and capitalism run amok, whereas Night is kind of about racism a little bit.
It certainly seems that way near the end.
Yeah,
right?
I guess we'll talk about that a bit more. But yeah, it certainly seems to have a sudden message a little bit that we were is it saying, wait. So, yeah. Well, let's jump into it.
Cool.
So we still have some familiar formatting. Don't worry, we haven't totally changed the podcast, but we're mixing it up a little bit. So we got some slight variations to the categories, but the first one is the same. So we're going to begin a nice timed round to keep it tight. Keep it oh so tight. Beginning with round...
Tight.
Yeah, how many times can we say tight this podcast? We're going to lose all there. Okay, round 1. Story good?
Oh, that sucked.
That was pretty quiet.
Yeah, I'll put a...
Yeah, you'll just put it in.
the volume
post,
was
right?
way down. I'll put one in after.
No,
yeah.
that's all good. I like that it was a really... We don't want to scare them off. It's a really...
Ting, ting, ting.
It's already a
ding,
scary.
ding,
It's already a
ding.
scary enough Halloween podcast.
Yeah, spoopy.
It started.
So we have Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead, and you can definitely see that one is of the other.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see a comparison, this comparison podcast, to see how one inspired the other and how one kind of grew, but not into a modern sense that it's of the 80s, the Return of the Dead or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we mentioned it already, Night of the Living Dead, it finishes with the protagonist, who ends up being the sole black
Spoilers.
man. Yeah, spoilers.
Spoilers for this film from 1968.
Yeah, this classic of a movie.
Yep.
This timeless classic, even, if you would call it that.
You could say that.
Because that's what the YouTube channel was called.
Yeah.
Timeless classic movies. But it's like he's the only person who is like trying to save people. He's trying to keep it cool while everyone else is like losing their shit. And then he gets very unceremoniously killed in the end when the like sheriff's posse shows up and no one is doing calls of like hey, like,
yeah, is anyone in there?
And he's not calling out like, hey, like, there's like, I'm alive in here. Yeah. Instead, he's like just looking at the window, which would be suspicious. And so they shoot him in the head. And then the movie just ends. And then it kind of looks like it looks like a lynching, just like a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was fine with the way that he died. I was fine with the idea that at that point, both parties would assume the other was dangerous and just open fire. That makes sense to me. It was the fish hooks. The not even fish hooks. What are
like
those?
Candyman or what was that?
I know what you did last summer is where
that's the one.
Yeah, they're like hauling huge like fish. Marine life.
Yeah, you like pull a tuna.
Yeah, so for some reason everybody in this it's a meat hook. And everybody in this militia has one for some reason.
Yeah.
And they all just
standard issue.
Yeah.
I mean, for militias in that area of the United States, probably.
Yeah.
But it didn't make any sense. I don't know why they needed to each like pierce him with their own meat hook and then drag him out via meat hook and into
just for dragging bodies.
I guess
through a series of stills.
Yeah,
like that's under the credits.
Which was it was an interesting choice that I kind of I missed that kind of creativity in the rest of the movie. If I'm being honest, like
sure.
You know what I mean? Like.
Well, And in particular, like you're looking at 1968, this film being released, and it's the height of the American intervention in Vietnam. So, I think a lot of the commentary from the racism point is showing of like how black men were being sent over to die for all of these like useless white people. Ooh. And then all those still photos at the end are like the same kind of photos you'd be seeing on the nightly news of like soldiers being offloaded from the ships and the planes that were bringing corpses back to the United States.
Where they're like gruesome, but both like weirdly close up that you can't fully see what it is.
You can't make out the details too well.
But you can tell that it's kind of horrific.
Yeah, so I think he's trying to comment on that, which obviously now kind of misses. It would be like if it was set in Afghanistan in the desert instead, in like Nevada instead of in eastern United States, so that it was
Sean,
like the desert.
That war is over. Okay,
yeah, we're done there.
Mission accomplished. Let it go. Okay.
Wait, I'm confused. So the entire movie is supposed to be a commentary on the Vietnam War?
I don't think it's supposed to be, but I think you can definitely like read into it that he was flavored by the images he was seeing in pop culture and news media at the time, and is showing these like waves after waves after waves of what they would believe in as the like mindless hordes of communism coming at them in the jungles, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is like apparently part of the appeal of zombie movies, which is that
and video games.
Yeah. And video games?
Halo, the Swarm.
That's why that's the only video games I play.
Right, the zombie ones.
Right,
right, of course. But this idea of why there's such a popular, even though people think they kind of passed in like popularity right now, they had that big, obviously there was a boom, but they are still, why people like zombies is because apparently like psychologically speaking, we can exact what we would want to exact on our fellow man without them being humanized.
Right.
So they are, as you said, it could be anything. It's not just the communist effort.
Yeah.
People always project your enemy human into the zombie. And that allows them to be such a kind of effective, not even like villain, but just like, I don't know, theme? Like it's an effective...
placeholder for your thing.
Yeah. Like therapeutic. It's like screaming into a cushion, the horror version of choice, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like, it is what you want it to be in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I will say that all the zombie video games that I play do certainly satisfy a certain... like innate bloodlust that I have.
We've seen.
Like if you're shooting like bugs in a game, it's like bugs.
Yeah, but if I'm shooting a zombie, it makes me feel like I'm shooting a person.
It's like, in your face, Dad. Screw you, Dad.
But now that you talk about the Vietnam connection, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense with the pivotal role that the media plays in this movie, because we're kind of bombarded with, there's long stretches of just radio segments and news segments,
TV,
just hearing about the enemy, the mindless kind of monsters that are, you know what I mean?
And
I guess that makes sense.
I thought it was actually kind of interesting that at the beginning, for quite a while in the movie, they refer to them as like mass homicides. That there's from a host of assassins. That they see it as this like awakening of Manchurian candidates or something like that are awakening and killing their fellow neighbor
and voting Democrat.
Which is also, I want to say, I liked. I don't know. I'll put this in this category. I like the fact that a lot of the zombies were like dressed nicely at the beginning, especially because it's like their funeral clothes. It's like what they were buried in, like a nice suit and pant. Yeah. And so when they arrive as zombies, they're like in like a blazer. And
it's like a formal event.
It's like a formal event.
But except for the one naked one.
The one random naked woman and the guy who had like a towel wrapped around him.
Right. Because he died in the shower.
He died in the shower.
He was buried in the shower.
I guess. Yeah. But, and that kind of leads into a couple things with the story of at least Night of the Living Dead that were kind of funny to me. I appreciate that the zombies kept backing up from the house to have shots of them walking slowly towards the house again. Instead of just like banging against the walls. They would just keep back. They're like, all right, they're looking, let's walk towards. But my biggest gripe, I think, with the story was the fact that there was a secret like 5 people in the basement. That's pretty weak.
Yeah, and they try to explain it off with like, oh, I didn't know what the danger was upstairs, so I wasn't going to risk me and my friends and my family down here. But you're like, okay, it's been an hour of movie.
But like, and you're a dad who has only been screaming since he came upstairs. So for sure you would have been yelling at your wife downstairs and they would have heard you. It just like was a funny way to introduce more people that I didn't totally buy.
Yeah. But I like the archetypes that, for the most part, I like the archetypes that they all embody, except for, unfortunately, Barbara, who is told to be a lunatic.
Well, she's had a psychotic break due to a traumatic event.
She's in shock.
She was it seems like she had a full-blown fucking breakdown. I don't think she was in shock. She was like completely dissociated from reality at that point. So, which like, you watch your brother get murdered by what you then learn is a zombie and find yourself in the middle of an apocalypse. I mean, I get it, but she just they play her as like a mentally ill.
Yeah, and then they hit her a lot.
They hit her a lot, and she's just...
That was the medication at the time.
Yeah, it's just weird to watch her like revert to like a dumb child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any
sense. Like an annoying, dumb child.
Yeah. It is so funny when he tells his like harrowing story of like the gas tanker that exploded in the fires, and there was 15, 20 of them even, and then she starts to tell her story, and immediately he's like, oh, fuck, you suck at telling stories.
Yeah. Just calm down.
Yeah, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. And then she has no payoff. She gets grabbed by her brother.
That's the payoff.
Who hugs her and pulls her into the zombies, which is dark.
It was pretty dark. Like that movie goes from boring to disturbing on a dime. Like it's pretty quick. As soon as the zombies kind of break into the house, the tonal shift, which is it. Oh, sorry about that. That's my phone. But I mean, for the fact that zombies are circling the house for an hour and a half, you never really feel that tension or the pressure of it.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they break in, it's kind of mortifying.
Yeah, it is.
And which I would say for Return, they play up the like surrounding of the building they're in for comedy. And so I never felt the pressure of like, oh no, these things are going to break in, which I did in Night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in Return, I was like, oh, I hope more cops get eaten because that's funny.
Right.
Yeah, that was such a funny bit of the recurring, the zombies on the radio
Hey, send more paramedics.
Yeah, send more cops, and the cops show up, and there's one of them dressed as a cop waving them in, and then throws up the hat and jumps in the chair.
Yeah.
I was expecting them to take down the helicopter. Like I was waiting for that.
That would have been beautiful. They didn't use the cannon. There's a Chekhov's cannon, and they don't use it.
They had a cannon in that cemetery. They must have thought they were going to or something. They're going to shoot a zombie head out of it, like into the mortuary, whatever you call that place.
Yeah. But that's a movie that I think walks the line of disturbing and funny really well all the way through.
Sure, yeah.
Because there's some pretty terrifying stuff.
It's disturbing. I would never say that I was tense in the film.
No, but there is some. Yeah, I guess disturbing is a better word. It's not really. It's not. Well, I mean, I would venture to say it's a little scary at some points. Like some of the ideas they present.
I found them more cool. I really like the idea that I haven't seen another zombie thing like this. I thought the whole sequence about the two guys from the beginning who like release the gas and breathe it in, the fact that they're alive through their own death, is cool. Such a cool concept that I haven't seen before.
Or since, really.
And since. Yeah. When it's so interesting when the paramedics arrive and they're like, well, scientifically, you're dead. And they're like, we're dead? Like, well, no, you're not. You're conscious. You're alive. And that means you're not dead. But they're like, what? And they're like, well, this is rigor mortis. And they're like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, yo, that is disturbing. Yeah. Like, that would be such a horrible experience, but it was also deeply fascinating. Like I thought it was great.
Well, just the whole setup of that I found to be really interesting because a lot of zombie movies, and Night kind of seemed like it was going to be this way as well, but a lot of them don't have any kind of real catalyst. Like you don't really know what the inciting incident was to cause a zombie outbreak. It kind of just like you wake up one morning and there's zombies that you're fighting. Yeah. So to have this kind of intricate backstory with the experiment gone wrong, and then the misdirected transport truck that lands it in this place, and this chemical that gets shot into the atmosphere that turns into rain that like spreads it. It's all very well thought out. You guys watch Community, right? Yeah. So I think the Halloween episode where they
the meat.
Yeah. That's like based solely on this episode. This movie.
Well, there's so much that's inspired by it. The thing is, like you mentioned, I guess I'll talk about that later. But I thought even just story wise, I liked actually, even though Return of the Dead Living Dead was very silly. Like anytime there was a moment that would be scary, they played like funky 80s pop over it. Yeah. Whenever they broke in, it was like, we didn't start the fire. Like it was always like a fun time. But it was always pretty clear about like I knew what was going on between like the gas was released and the gas went into the atmosphere, and then it rained and it dripped down into like, and then now
there's some logic weirdness, but I'm willing to hand wave it away.
Yeah, because it clearly portrays it in like this goofy, ghouly like way. Right. And I think it was like I'm curious, like it makes me want to watch the whole progression of when the zombies became, because they're clearly quite sentient in this. And I thought it was interesting that they had a whole moment where they captured this like decaying woman. Right. She was like half a woman. Yeah. And like they had a conversation with her, and the guy who ran the morgue was like, why are you doing this? And the brains make the pain go away.
That scene was phenomenal.
It was so interesting. Yeah. And I know that later on, even just from seeing trailers, and I haven't seen them, but when it gets to like Dawn of the Dead or one of those other movies that Dennis Jones produced, that they're like fully sentient, that they're like, they're much, or not fully, but they're like even more, I think, aware of stuff. Like they're...
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, this is the only movie that I can remember where the zombies can hold full conversations, albeit like a couple of them, because some of them, they seem to have varying degrees of intelligence, and are able to like come up with strategies to get people. Like even when they're sentient and they're fast and they're strong, they're still operating solely on instinct. Yeah. In like Dawn of the Dead or The Walking Dead or fucking any of these movies, they have varying levels of like aggression. but their intelligence. This is the only movie I can think of, and it was a little bit in the Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, they knew how to work like handles.
Yeah.
Handles, and like there was that moment where the first zombie cuts the phone wire, but I don't know if that's just because the phone wire's in the way.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. Like, is this a smart zombie or just a clumsy zombie?
I think it was clumsy. Would be my vote. It did make me feel better about it though, because I watched many seasons of The Walking Dead, for example, and always like zombies as an enemy always bothered me because like with a little bit of planning, you can eradicate. Yeah, it's not an issue. No, if they're like drawn to noise, it's like okay, that's pretty helpful. By the way, if you have a thing that makes fire and a boombox, you can get rid of a. Anyway, so it was actually kind of nice to have. It makes me feel better about the whole. It makes me more scared of them when they're like using a radio to phone it. Like that's quite scary. Those scenes. I'm sorry, tackling the fucking paramedics.
Football tackling the paramedics.
So good.
And then when the first wave of the cops arrive, it's that is it water? No, not Another Teen Movie. When the kid gets tackled from both sides and it splits him in half. Yeah, that's essentially what happens to one of the cops.
The cop throws his hat at them and he realizes it's overwhelmed. But
I love that cop has his hat back on when he's waving the other cops.
Oh, I didn't realize it was the same cop.
Same one.
That's so funny.
It's a really clever movie. It was incredibly clever. I'd never heard of this film before you mentioned it. Yeah. Honestly, and like I don't know why I've never heard of this film because it is clever as shit.
I had that exact same thought as I was watching it. I was like, I can't believe that I had to like search this movie out because for me. That is how a zombie movie should be done. I think it deserves a lot more recognition because it has everything you want from a zombie movie. You don't watch zombie movies to be scared. You watch zombie movies to have fun, and this kind of incorporates all aspects of the zombie genre to have just a fucking really good time.
Because I love Shaun of the Dead. Like that's a
love
movie,
Shaun of the Dead,
and that movie turns truly scary by the end. I think in moments.
I forget how it goes. Does it get darker in the end?
Yeah,
it's dark.
It gets pretty dark at the end.
Does it?
Yeah. It's all fun and games until like, bleh. Right. But this movie seems more like an inspiration than Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Like Return,
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's full of camp. I mean, this movie is ridiculous. All the like 80s teens driving up in their car that says "Who cares" on it, and they're like, "Where's the party? I want a party." Oh, let's go to Johnny. Johnny knows where the party is. Yeah. This chain in my nose is a way of life.
Yeah. But it is a perfect the zombie like structure is perfect theater in that you're putting a bunch of different people in the same room and putting a life and death situation at their feet and you're forcing them to make choices. Yeah. And so it just like turns like it's going to turn into a good movie unless you are a terrible filmmaker, right?
Yeah. That's always the crux, right? Like it's just like people under the most pressure. Yeah. Kind of thing.
And what do they do?
Well, which is why I felt like the Night of the Living Dead kind of fell a little flat because it didn't feel like they were under pressure really for the movie. Like you said, they're around the house the entire time, and every time they look outside, they're just kind of parked on the lawn. Yeah. They're never in immediate danger.
But they still were acting as if they were in.
They were, but we knew as the viewer that they weren't.
Yeah,
right?
It didn't feel like it for us. Yeah, which is gonna hurt it.
It's tough. It definitely suffers from being the first of its kind, I would say.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too. As I was watching it, I was like, well, I have definitely been spoiled by how the zombie genre is now. Yeah. Because if I saw this for the first time and I'd never seen zombies before, it would probably fucking blow my mind in movie theaters.
It's cool to see.
And it won a ton of awards, too, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It's like widely recognized as
It's cool to see as like a progenitor of all these other films that like it
sounds like an antidepressant.
Progenitor.
Yeah. Zombie progenitor.
Don't that's our ad later for progenitor. So yeah, but great to see, and honestly, like not many things like they had funny story things, but overall, whoa!
Oh my god,
what is this?
Is that the end of round sound?
No, that's a 10-second warning that I have not heard before.
Turn that off for the next one.
Yeah. That's it.
That's beautiful. Jesus I love that there's an alarm to tell you there's going to be an alarm.
We're gonna fix that this time.
Oh my goodness.
Did that scare you? Was it spooky?
It's a spoopy Halloween. That's a jump scare moment.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, that's the end of our story round. Stay tuned for our a little clip, perhaps we're seeing how this works. So our first impression of Night of the Living Dead, followed by a quick little ad break, and we'll be back for round 2. Thanks so much. Okay, so first impressions, Night of the Living Dead. I know it's like already spoilers, or maybe not. We probably talked about it already. Worst ending.
I don't know about that.
But
zombies have come a long way. I think that's my take.
Zombies have come a long way.
Yeah.
I guess my takeaway is if the 60s has taught us anything, it's that women can't handle stress.
That's definitely
That's this movie.
Yeah.
as a character famously said, "We can't get there. We have a child downstairs and 2 women." And there were fully 3 women in the house. Hey, we're back. Welcome back. Now jumping into our second round, which we've amalgamated from, sounds good was always funny because we didn't want to talk about it. So we've amalgamated looks and sounds and everything technical into this new round that we're just calling right now production. Technical.
That was his one job. He took away his one job.
I was in the middle. I was gonna try and do a bit. Anyways, this is not production, but I'm just realizing that in the entire story conversation, we didn't talk about the fact that in Night of the Living Dead, they are fucking space zombies.
Yeah. Some radiation from Venus.
Yeah.
From a spacecraft returning from Venus.
But that never made it back to Earth.
That NASA had to blow up, or did they? I think is the,
Right.
Yeah, it felt like filling time.
Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't realize that was in that movie, but I enjoyed that. But production-wise...
where do you want to start with
Romero
the movie?
has a keen eye.
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah.
His shots are framed well. I think for the time it is a revolutionary eye in horror that would not have been seen seen in the mainstream, which helps the film.
Yeah, so one thing that I appreciated from a technical standpoint in Night of the Living Dead was that it had atypical cinematography. I mean, it seemed like it was a very low budget movie. The audio was all over the place. It sounded like they didn't even have mics on the actors most of the time.
Yeah.
The edits sometimes were rough.
Well, sometimes I was watching it and it was reminding me of silent films.
Yes,
like
for sure.
kind of jumpy
that
edits.
level of black and white.
It was very strange.
Yeah,
and I mean, this is going to be a really stupid question, but in '68, like we're well into color movies at this point, right?
Yeah, I think the makeup would have looked awful.
Well, that's what I was thinking, and I think that he's trying to create kind of the old school campy kind of horror vibe with the black and white, and that's fine. And I think that generally the shooting style is meant to. I mean, to me, it kind of reminded me of like a Blair Witch approach today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like kind of fast and loose, run and gun, meant to be less cinematic and more like you are just experiencing it with the people.
Yeah.
And what I really appreciated was the news segments playing like real news segments.
Yeah, just a guy sitting on a stool.
Just a guy sitting on a stool, and then the cutaways to the interviews.
Yeah.
They felt almost improvised. They were so natural. They didn't feel scripted. They didn't feel like they were trying to be too movie. It was a really kind of naturalistic approach, I guess, which is what I felt like he was going for.
Yep.
That said, I mean, there's a lot of technical issues with the film that made it hard to watch.
I do agree with what you're saying, Sean, that I think it was kind of there also to cover up makeup stuff, because most of those actors did not look dead at all.
No.
They looked just like someone who hadn't slept much, tops.
Yeah.
Like,
and like, yeah, it's a progenitor. It's the progenitor of the zombie look. So,
okay, I feel like you're taking my word now.
No, it's my word. I think if we roll it back, you'll find it's my word.
That's bull.
Yeah.
But
ask your doctor about progenitor.
Progenitor may cause anyway, but
may cause you to eat brains.
Yeah. But again, I feel like even in terms of shot choices, I do see inspiration in some of the other zombie movies that I've seen. Even like a big reference for me would be Shaun of the Dead. But like just like the idea, which I loved, and it works so well even in this movie, of when Barbara and her sinful brother Johnny, godless Johnny, who hasn't been to church in a while, praying. We're not in church here, Barbara. Come on. But they're at the cemetery, and there's just someone kind of shambling in the background. It's such an effective thing, even to this day, and that is used in Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that. But even that shot I mentioned earlier, where Barbara is pulled out of the house into the like reaching arms of this mob, which is such a kind of horrifying image. Like that's used in Shaun of the Dead. The dude with glasses gets pulled out of a window out of the bar at the end of that movie, and gets like disemboweled in front of everyone.
I was looking for that shot the entire time.
And you see that as well though in Return of the Living Dead, where random punk teen 3 gets pulled out of the window by the kind of the corpsey arms. Lady, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it seems to be an ongoing thing, the idea of the reaching arms kind of sucking them into this. And that is always kind of...
Yeah, it's terrifying. Being torn apart by a mob.
It's not fun. Which is why I didn't get it. Like, one thing that kind of bothered me is, so they had, I'll just call her Boob Lady, but trash.
Her name was Trash.
Her name was... She was respectful.
She was
Boob
trash.
Lady's name was Trash. Okay? She was trash.
She was naked trash. Sorry, continue.
Who takes off her clothes in the cemetery because she's into death or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she's like, my worst, and she's like rubbing herself, like, my worst way to go is surrounded by old men who eat me alive. And then like kind of happens, but happens really quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
I wanted to see the faces, and I wanted to see her looking around and see that these old corpses were all like older looking men who had died. Right. I wanted that to be a bit more leaned into.
Yeah, because they definitely were. Like,
well, no, one of them clearly quickly in the shot was like clearly just a young man's face who didn't have mud on his face. So I'm sorry, Sean, it wasn't that clear. But and then she comes back as this like painted white naked zombie with her red hair.
From the It series.
And it's a cool look, but I wanted her to have like bites out of her. She was too clean.
Yeah.
And it was a production thing that bothered me. I wanted her to have like a missing jaw or something that made me, or like just like a boob missing. If you're gonna lean into the boob, like make it a thing. The boob trauma. Like, remember how you were looking at her boobs, you sicko?
Yeah.
Now her boobs were eaten off. You'd be like, oh shit, like, that would look really scary.
I feel bad.
She also had weird prosthetics on her face that weren't like they were almost demonic. They weren't like she'd been eaten. They were like added to her face. She had weird ridges on her eyebrows, and like her face had changed, almost like she was possessed instead of a zombie.
Yeah, it was like Zool had gotten her. Yeah. So it seemed special, but I didn't understand why.
Well, honestly, I think the most disturbing segment out of either films is when the young lovers get blowed up in the truck, and then the zombies eat them. And they're just eating like chicken wings and cooked liver and stuff on camera, but it's convincing and probably hadn't been seen in mainstream film up to that point.
Except for the guy who clearly just had like a bit of like rubber hose.
Yeah.
Dipped in like loose melted cheese, and he clearly wasn't eating. He was just like fucking with it with his hands for a minute.
Yeah, he puts his head over it to make it look like
But he's like, I'm not gonna bite this like random rubber.
But it's still effective.
Yeah, but the rest of the shots, them actually eating was good. Oh, they had some great effects in Return of the Living Dead of them biting people's heads and stuff. Yeah. The whole sequence of the first. When they release the gas and it reanimates the dude, the corpse hanging by its head in the locker.
Oh man, that shot was so good.
Is them zooming up on it? Or
Yeah.
But then it also running out, and it's like this weird. It's like a guy in like a bald cap painted yellow for some reason. But that whole sequence of them trying to kill it and referencing Night of the Living Dead, saying like you have to kill its brain, and they put a pickaxe through its head.
Oh my god!
And then it's still just like
it just like squeals.
It's like its toes are curling up behind it and stuff. Like all of that stuff was great, and a great again if having just watched literally. Like 30 minutes before Night of the Living Dead, to see that difference of them referencing it, being like, you gotta do this, and it not working, and it being like, was great.
Too fucking funny.
So I thought those sequences were wonderful.
Music in both films, they're scored entirely. And honestly, I thought I was going to hate that Return of the Dead soundtrack, but
it was dope.
It was a bop.
I also wrote that it's a bop.
Yeah.
When like the rain starts to pour, I even said that like it's a fun like mad science kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Where like it sounds like the opening of Thriller. And it's
super synth, dark synth pop. Yeah. But it rocks. Yeah. It was really good.
And you're like, oh, like some spoopy mad science is going on.
That's if we were still just doing the music round, it would be tough because I love the orchestrations from Night of the Living Dead. I thought that it was really clever underscoring, but like, damn, that music was good in Return.
Yeah.
Isn't it so funny that the first week we decided to ditch the sound round? We have 2 movies with dope scores.
Oh yeah, but we wouldn't want to talk about it still.
No.
For our classic story part 2 round.
I want to take a second to talk about the
famine in Africa.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Cue Sheryl Crow. No, I want to talk about the violence choreography in Night of the Living Dead.
Sure.
Okay.
Hugging?
Yeah. Hugging, slow caressing.
Punching.
When he punched that lady? Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe the only realistic strike in the entire film.
Because the smack was pretty much real. Like, I'm pretty sure she
actually
him,
just smacked him?
and then he like fake punched her realistically.
And then he fake punched, what's his name, Cooper? Or whatever that guy? Anyway.
I don't remember anybody's name. From
Mr. Cooper, yeah.
Mr. Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Which one was Mr. Cooper?
The coward
guy.
The bald guy?
Yeah, the coward.
Oh, right. The coward, Mr. Cooper. I don't know. It just, like, I thought there was a lot of pacing issues with Night of the Living Dead, but, like, the choreography was one thing that I felt slowed the whole fucking movie down. There's a moment where what was the lead's name, the black guy?
Ben.
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 It's
only said like twice. I saw in the credits. I was like, all right.
Ben.
Where he's over top of one of the zombies and he's supposed to be like pummeling him.
And it's like...
Not even that. It's like he's just letting his arm kind of fall on him. It's so slow. There's no sound for some reason.
Yeah.
It was really, really strange for a movie that's
Foley work on that was not good.
non-existent. But it's
my jacket's caught. My favorite part of the whole fucking movie.
That you didn't hear her say my jacket's caught?
Yeah, she whispers it. There's like zombies.
And then I was like, oh, her jacket's caught.
Yeah, closing around the thing. And he's like, come on. My jacket's caught. But sorry, Dan, go on.
They really burned those actors alive for that scene. They never budget for stunts.
Fun fact.
Fun fact. That is a very fun fact.
Yeah.
Come on, progenitor.
No, I just thought it was interesting for a movie that is based around violence that they would be so...
Yeah. Well, and we commented on it when we were watching it, but this is a movie that involves a lot of fire, and it is really like the actors running around with a lot of fire.
Like in this house.
Like real fire.
In this wood house.
Like improvised kerosene.
Yeah.
Table leg torch.
Yeah, lighting a table leg in the fireplace that you've thrown like 4 feet of wood into and pouring kerosene all over, and then running outside and lighting the couch on the porch on fire.
Yeah, and like the shots too of them like trying to get the truck. And one of them is like waving this loose torch.
in the bed.
And extras are clearly just like shambling, running after this car, and like it doesn't look safe at all. It for sure. They were like, just do this, and like people could have been hurt.
It was a non-union production.
Non-union, and we support our brothers in IATSE.
Yeah.
But I do think that Return stands out a lot more. Like I loved the design of the zombie who was supposed to be one of the zombies from the original Night of the Living Dead, occurrence, although it's not as we saw it in that movie.
Right.
Although I also loved that the beginning of Return of the Living Dead says based on true events that actually happened. Like,
Yeah, all people are real. Yeah, it was really funny.
This whole thing. But the design of that like soupy zombie that comes out of the barrel. Mm-hmm. Although I loses points for corpses with no lips saying brains. You need lips
Or
to
tongue.
to say buh.
Yeah. Brains.
Which isn't as satisfying. And you can't have a goopy zombie look up and say more brains as the teens come down.
But you do.
So, but the design of that was great. I thought all the looks, the thriller-esque moments of all the zombies coming out, like, and the muddiness of them, that they really look like they'd come from the earth, which was missing from. It made you realize that it's kind of actually like a flaw in Night of the Living Dead, that they all came from the earth, and they're in suits like they were buried, but they're all clean. They're all like the clothing should be dirty.
Well, they were recently dead, right? They hadn't been buried. The shtick was like, these are the recently dead coming back to life. They haven't been buried yet. They've just been like,
but there was one.
Yeah, but I'm going to ignore that plot point.
The first zombie was wandering through a cemetery.
Yeah, he was in the house that they have the bodies in before they bury them. You know,
it is, Ben. It's possible. I see what you're saying, but it made it extra satisfying. Although it was still pretty weak when in Return of the Living Dead they had like the same shots used multiple times in the beginning, like in the end of the movie.
For the coffin drip.
For the drip down and the same zombie coming out of the earth again. That I was like, how did you think we wouldn't know this, or did you just not care?
Well, and it was strange for a movie that clearly put so much effort into the production value of the film for them to just recycle footage like that. It felt like
it was
a misstep.
weird. Like they tacked it on.
Yeah.
I do wish we knew what happened with the guy who was the embalmer and everything.
They died in the nuclear strike.
Yeah, I know, but there seemed to be something more going on there in his whole conversation with the torso lady, which looked. I think of this because I think of that conversation. That was really outstanding. Yeah, and I loved that conversation as like as an expanding on.
Well, he was going to shoot the girl when her boyfriend
was like breaking up.
Yeah, because that was kind of what I took away with, like, when he takes out the gun and he kind of like is leaning it down towards her. So I think the idea was like, as soon as her boyfriend appeared, he was going to kill her
and probably kill himself.
And I think he had one bullet left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's it was really that actor was. We'll get into it, but like there's a really subtle shot of him checking the barrel and then looking kind of worried and then like putting the gun away just before they go up into the attic.
Oh,
he had a lot of moments like that. I was clocking. There's a lot of stuff that like wasn't meant for the camera. It was just meant for the other people in the room. Yeah, and he was awesome.
Yeah,
I thought there were some other, like, speaking of just little details, and it made sense. I mean, kind of, even though there were people in Night of the Living Dead that were hiding in the basement, but I like that, like, so Barbara is running away forever, falling down, of course.
Yeah,
the number of people that just like fall down, like.
And
also,
then
stay there. The mom who dies from her daughter getting stabbed by the trowel in such a ridiculous sequence. But I did that she just like stands there.
Yeah.
I did like how they modified the sound and stuff, and like the weird echo of the screams or whatever that they put on it. I thought it was
interesting.
That was my least favorite part, honestly.
Really?
Because like it felt like just a choice, not a good. Just like, we want to do something, so let's do that.
Do you think that it was because in the edit Romero realized that he had fucked the whole thing by having her lay down for her daughter, so he needed to add some kind of
maybe, or like the real sound was fucked on the day, like it got shredded up.
Oh, maybe. That's probably what it was. Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of interesting because it was like it's supposed to be a pretty like dark, twisted moment. And only made better by the fact that they allowed that little girl to stab her mother like 800 times.
Oh my God.
I think it was so many times. But the little detail I was talking about, that Barbara comes into the house and she finds there's like a person who's been eaten partially at the top of the stairs. That's supposed to be scary. It's
very effective.
It's very effective. And she came in through like an open door. So hypothetically, a door was open because someone would have eaten that corpse and then wandered back out again, and a door would be open. So, like, little details like that, whether they knew it or not, were things that I noticed that I appreciated. that it wasn't like it wasn't all boarded up and she got in and someone was eating inside. Like that wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, because I kept wondering like, where's the zombie that got that person?
Yeah, but
That was what I was thinking too.
But there was an open door that she came in through in the back when she was running around trying to get into the
Right,
house.
so the zombie came in, killed the person, and then let themselves out.
Yeah, only ate their face.
A door was open. That's how
Only
they got
their
in.
face. Yeah, I guess so. I enjoyed the subtle detail of Barbara getting chased by a zombie and choosing to just park her car by a tree to get out and run.
You mean how she crashes it right away?
She crashes the tree?
Crashes.
Yeah, but not in a way that would cause a car
No,
not to
she
drive
just like
anymore.
pulls over.
And then it like rips, it like bungs up the side a bit. But like that car still works, girl. Like keep going, Barb.
Go, Barbara.
Yeah. So there was really cool details as well in Return of I commented on it when we were watching it. I thought the little details of this, so that this gas gets released and it reanimates the corpse that's in the lock or whatever. But also like the split dogs that they have start barking and panting again.
The butterflies.
The butterflies is very cool.
But it didn't reanimate the skeletons. I guess because there's no organs, there's no brain.
yeah,
But there's only half a brain with the dog,
but that's brain.
I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
If
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do.
No, but if the skeletons came back,
But they're worried about the bones.
I would have rolled my eyes.
But a skeleton came out of a grave later in the movie.
Yeah, and they're worried about the bones
no,
in
but
the
it
incinerator.
wasn't like an empty skull.
It was a skeleton.
No, she had eyes.
No, I don't know, man.
That shot that they played twice.
I think so.
Yeah, no, it opened its eyes because it's still the head was
it
still
did have
intact.
eyes.
Am I wrong?
It wasn't.
It did
It
have
wasn't
eyes.
an empty
Alright,
skeleton.
yeah, okay.
Empty skeleton would have been bullshit. I
Although
think there
why
were,
they had eyes, because the eyes are the first thing that go. Like they're the first thing eaten by worms. So
I don't think we can pick apart this movie too much in terms of like
No. It loses because
biological realism.
not
it
just
has
the worms.
eyes.
Eyes are the tastiest part of the person. Period. That's the end of that round. So, because we started to get there anyway, let's go into our third round, which is acting. Is she good? Is she good with the acting? Ooh, people are going to love that sound.
Yeah, they're gonna love it.
People are going to flock to this pod just for those bell sounds. We're going to change things up, but never the bell sounds. Those are here forever.
I like the bell sound.
Get ready. Even if this podcast evolves into us just like riffing for 20 minutes in the future,
Right now.
we will always have the bells.
I think what I might do is in post just add a subtle ring bell playing on a loop.
Oh, nice. Just
I-
in the background. Just like real, just like subliminally.
Yeah.
And like
right.
loudly when we name ourselves.
People are just wandering
I'm,
around.
Yeah,
I'm ding
Ding,
ding
ding,
ding,
ding.
and you're
Exactly.
joined by ding ding ding.
you got it.
Yeah. Acting.
Well, I mean, I've said this before about other comparisons, but I feel like one movie has acting, and one movie
How's
has
acting?
Yeah, which one? Yeah, which ones do you mean?
Wait, are we not on the same page here? That
I think there were
Night of the
some
Living
brilliant
Dead-
performances in Night of the Living Dead.
Some brilliant performances.
A couple.
I thought Ben was fine.
Ben was great.
Ben was
Ben was
Ben
pretty
was
good.
Ben was
okay.
great.
Ben was okay.
Ben was
name
great.
name one other great performance.
Yes, I will tell you the other great performance comes from Chief McClellan.
Yeah, the
Which
the
one was-
sheriff
which
guy.
one
The
was
sheriff
who
with
has
the gun
who
with
has-
the bullet belt over his shoulder, who's in the like
He's in the
news
news
pieces.
reports, and he's
The
great.
daytime news reports from the middle of the day,
He's great.
or from the middle of the night, rather.
Do we,
like-
do we,
he-
do we
he's the
see
one-
him ever?
Yeah,
not
comes
on news?
comes back at the end. He's the guy like leading the posse on the farmland.
He's like, well, you go down there and you see,
Yeah.
you see. Okay, well, that's all.
Wait,
there.
are you fucking kidding me? You thought
He
he
was
was
great.
great?
I thought
Oh,
he was-
man.
I thought he was good.
I thought
was-
he was unwatchable.
He was phenomenal.
Oh my god.
Why was
really?
he? No, he's
He's part of
unwatchable
that-
because he's being that country like podunk, right?
Yeah, it's like that naturalism we were talking about before, where it's like the newscast.
Yeah, but for me,
I dug it. I did.
Did you really?
Sean?
Oh, man.
I did.
Yeah, because like I spoke to that guy every day when I grew up.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I don't have any personal experience with that kind of person.
Right.
And
So,
I've
okay,
never
okay.
met that guy, so I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't relate to that. I can relate more to that, but not in this guy. But yeah, I don't know. I thought he was weak. I thought Ben was fine. I thought, by and large, most of the people were pretty. I thought the wife was actually not bad.
She was
The
good.
strong wife.
She was good. The young guy, the male part of the couple.
Oh, the guy who's never acted before.
Oh my god, he's straight up on like 2 occasions that I can point to, looked into the barrel of the camera as he was
sure.
speaking his line.
I'm sure. And Romero's like, "Fuck, this is on film.
Shit.
We can't shoot it again."
We only have one reel of film. I'm shooting this chronologically in the scene.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Ben was good. Barbara, I don't know. Someone else go.
No, Barbara's
tough.
bad.
Yeah, she's
Barbara
not
was
good.
tough. I see, but
But her role was garbage. It's the classic, like, you're a
Yeah.
female actor before, well, I mean, still kind of now, but anytime before now, even worse.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess. I don't know. Someone else say something.
It's not great. As I mentioned in my first impression, it read like a bad acting class. Her monologue where she's like clutching herself, being like, they clawed at me and they grabbed at me. I was like, please make it stop.
And it's part of the style. Like, it is...
I guess.
It is a style.
But the style feels dated. This
Yes.
is a movie that's almost the 70s, and it felt like something out of like the late 40s.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Which was strange. I mean, I think that the movie is supposed to have a dated quality, but then you have someone like Ben come in who just feels very natural, like a man of like the 60s or early 70s.
Yeah.
So it's this weird kind of like butting of heads where tonally it just feels fucking weird.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It
Then
is.
you have fucking Podunk Billy or whatever his name was. That just
Chief McClellan.
Just shitting all over everything in the
Yeah,
movie.
well, we're going to be around
That
here.
was Chili Billy McLilly or whatever it was in the
Chili
credits.
Billy.
Cardelli?
Carmelli. Yeah.
That's Bill Chili Billy Cardilli.
Yeah.
Playing Chief Podunk there. I agree, Sean. I thought he was fine. I mean, even Mr. Cooper wasn't bad. Like he did the
role.
thing. He did the thing.
He
Like,
spoke the words like they should be minimally spoken.
like I knew what that character was. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which
he's
is
the
like,
coward.
Which doesn't mean he did a great job, but he did the movie. The other guy, the young guy who's also in the basement,
just hot trash.
ooh, does he suck?
Young Brando.
Young Brando there. Let's
Kind of dressed like him,
yeah,
actually.
seriously,
He
little,
did.
little Brandette.
Yeah.
Little Brandette.
Just not knowing where to stand, who to speak to, how to speak the words.
And it's like clearly you could tell someone went action and he went, let's go downstairs, eh?
Yeah.
Like come on, let's go.
And
Like, it wasn't of anything.
One of his first shots, it's someone is speaking the end of their sentence off screen as the camera is focusing on him. And you can see his body going through the rehearsal motions that he went through as he's listening to this person's mind. And he went, and now I speak, ah la 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 la, and spoke his line. It's rough.
And then there's like his girlfriend, right? Who they explode together.
Yeah, who doesn't have a character, who isn't like a person.
She is just like a vacant.
Yeah.
She's just like someone's girlfriend.
Yeah, they needed-
She's like a pretty gal who was there. It's really.
It's a nothing role.
It's
Well, yeah, she
truly
serves
nothing.
no purpose. She comes
They're
out
like
out of
go
nowhere.
downstairs. They're like come up here.
She's there.
Yeah.
Go watch the girl.
She's there so a
come up
woman
here.
is near the child.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
or near the crazy other woman.
Yeah.
I thought the child did a good job.
Yeah, she was spooky. Spoopy.
She was spoopy.
She picked up that trowel.
She did. She
Stabbed.
she ate her dad.
Yeah. What was that line
that
that
was
the Mrs. Cooper, I guess, her line,
Judy?
whatever, if you say so, but she was like,
Judy
she was
Cooper.
like, I know we have a hard time living together.
Yeah. Their marriage is on the rocks.
Yeah, but that's still better than dying together. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
Did you?
it's deep pathos.
Was that in the script, or did you?
Or are you married and you hate him?
Yeah, did you like make that up and you just feel like, oh, that was it?
It was
Great,
good.
Good job, Judy Cooper.
See, there are moments like that in this movie that made me go like, oh, okay. And then it does other things for a bit, and then you hit another moment like that, and you're like,
it's
oh,
not
yeah.
nearly as derpy as it should for
No.
like the first zombie movie ever.
Yeah.
It should be way more derpy. And it's not.
Or way more terrifying. That's what I wanted. I wanted
Yeah,
it
but
to
is
be
any
just
movie-
old and scary.
Are you scared by, like, I'm not scared by any movie pre-1972, probably. Like, when's The Exorcist? 70, 72, 73, something like that.
Is it 72 or 73?
Yeah, it's mid-70s.
That movie's fucking creepy.
Yeah, like, I'm legitimately...
You've never... Yeah, well, yeah.
My mom saw it when she was young.
mom saw it.
And like,
My mom
shut
saw
up.
The Exorcist.
Fuck you. But my mom did see it. And no, that's a movie where she's like also not into scary movies, but she saw that for whatever reason. And she was like, I remember it came up once and she just went, I never want you to watch that movie. And I was like, what? She's like, don't you watch that movie ever. And I was like,
It's fucked,
and I was
man.
like, oh, now I kind of want to watch it at some point.
It is a fucked up movie. I
hate scary movies.
Yeah, I don't mind certain types of scary movies. I can't do paranormal at all. And like, imagine that watching The Exorcist.
Yeah.
It's a fucking nightmare.
Have you seen
man.
Paranormal Activity?
No, I can't. Fuck no. There's no way.
They suck so
There's
much.
no way. I would never even try it. Absolutely not.
I'm gonna make you watch it.
No, you're not. We'll stop being friends.
We're gonna
before
do
you
Exorcist
that.
versus Paranormal Activity.
I love it.
I'm quitting the podcast.
That's a year from now. We have time to build up to it.
Yeah.
Buddy, I'm 32. I'm
wanna
never
watch-
building up to it.
I don't want to watch them either, but I'm gonna pitch it.
No, we got to do it for the pod.
Yeah, just for Dan.
Yeah.
No. I'll edit that one. I just won't be here.
As you just like cry your way through the podcast.
It'll fuck me up for weeks, man. Like, it'll fuck me up for a long time. I
You'll
can't do
be
them.
on Progenitor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Progenitor.
Progenitor. What about Return? Because that had a bunch of performances in it.
Some great performances.
But what I loved
Yeah.
about that
Also
is that
bad ones.
they introduced these fucking ridiculous characters.
Yeah.
Just like cartoonish, archetypes
Yeah.
named Trash and Suicide.
Yeah.
The punk characters are so stupid.
But there are some really grounded human performances from these people.
Absolutely.
Well, not Trash really, but even what Suicide is doing, the gang leader.
Yeah, he's got a conflict. Right?
Yeah, he's chewing some scenery,
Yeah.
but it's believable because of who he is.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I have to say about that. I thought all the characters were well realized and really fascinating in this film, especially the morgue dude, the mortician.
Yeah.
The morgue dude.
Stole the movie for me.
Yeah.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I think everyone did a great job, but he was on a different level.
Yeah, he
From the introduction of him with his headphones on and his big pipe.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's a great character role
Yeah.
for an actor of his age, you know.
It is, but he's never doing. He's never doing anything too big or charactery.
No.
He just is that fucking dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was that is what acting is, in my opinion. And again, he has a lot of these moments where he's doing stuff for the actors in the scene with him.
Yeah.
That you kind of feel aren't even meant for the camera. They're not angled out for the camera to see. They're just for the people around him.
I noticed there's the barrel thing that I noticed, but also when they're bringing in the rabid ferrets, which is actually the dismembered body, and it's just him in the background. He he's not happy about these people bringing them into the room, and you see that, and he kind of turns around and he turns back, and he's just reacting to what's happening in front of him as they bring those in, and he stole that scene just by being in the background reacting to what was going on.
Yeah, he was really good. He really did help the movie a lot.
Yeah.
And also by being this interesting person who already deals with death, you know what I mean? That character where we see him first, we have a whole sequence of him embalming. Mm-hmm. You know, where it's his connection to the dead is already so different. And I remember mentioning as we were watching it too, the shift where he's kind of this quirky but pretty grounded guy who knows how to he's okay, we need to do this. That's pretty messed up, but here we go, and you owe me. And then he goes out. He's I'm going to try and check out the ambulance. And he gets half swarmed by these zombies and runs back. And he's
Full blown panic.
and he's fully, totally messed up.
Yeah.
And I was yeah, because it doesn't matter if that happens to you, that 30 muddy corpses run at you, yelling brains. Your gun's to be different.
Yeah.
It's going to hit you.
That actor's name is Don Calfa. I just thought I should look it up and say it because he's really good. So go in and find the movie Bugsy.
Why do I know
Weekend at
Bugsy?
Bernie's. Okay.
What? Follow Don Calfa.
Yeah,
Don't follow us. Follow Don Calfa.
Yeah, he worked up to 2015, it looks like. Lots of movies. Lots of movies you can go watch him in. He's really good.
Well, great. Okay. Support for Don Calfa.
Yeah.
Then you had, I thought the performances of the other core three, they felt core, right? More than the punk crew.
Yeah.
Johnny and
Freddie, I think his name was.
Doug or something. They were generic white dude names.
Yeah.
Girlfriend.
No, the three guys who worked at the factory where it first broke out.
Oh, them.
Bert.
Yeah,
Bert was the boss.
Bert. Freddy.
And Johnny. Johnny was the boyfriend, right?
No, Freddy's
Freddy's the
Freddy's the
boyfriend.
boyfriend. Oh.
I don't know what the old guy's name was. The guy who cremated himself inexplicably.
Yeah.
He was kind of bad sometimes, but like kind of I think he was always playing high stakes, as you talked about. Like he was always in the moment, I thought.
He was a funny one.
Freddie was all right. I thought him freaking out as he realized he was like dead already and stuff like was always a bit disturbing and like real, and again, as I talked about, like made those moments really effective.
Yeah.
But I agree about the guy who played his boss, but not Bert. He almost seemed like he was meant to be comic relief off the top. Like he was doing some cartoony shit with when he's telling the story, and even like his little bit. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like he was always a bit larger than everybody else. Let me tell you. And then he kind of just like falls off once his death process kind of kicks in.
Until he throws himself into the fire.
Which I was craving some kind of explanation for. It didn't make any sense to me.
He just didn't want to be that.
Right. Yeah, I understand that, but at that point it's established that once you're a zombie, you don't have any kind of conscience about being a zombie. Right?
He wasn't a zombie yet.
Yeah. But he was a zombie.
You live in constant pain though. Unless you eat brains.
I guess, but no other zombie is trying to commit suicide.
No.
He had the wherewithal to remove his wedding ring.
Yeah.
And then climb into a furnace.
He's not fully gone.
But I don't know. I think that's wrong because
would you want to become that?
No, I'm not saying the decision is wrong. What I'm saying is, logistically, from what they've established in the movie, it doesn't make any sense because Freddy was full blown rigor mortis until he was a zombie, and then he was trying to kill his girlfriend.
Right.
Well,
all the other zombies are just craving brains, albeit because they're in pain.
He just had more fortitude than Freddy did.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's one of those things where you're arguing against the logic of the movie, but it's the movie that sets its own logic.
But if the movie sets its own logic, it has to adhere to that logic. In that moment, it doesn't.
But I think it does. It says that, like, depending on how quickly you turn or how it happens. So Johnny succumbed to brain eating. And if you have the strength, what the logic of the movie is what we're saying, the logic of the movie is if you have the strength of will, you can make a push to kill yourself or something. You know what I mean? Like you can make a push against it. That's what happens in the movie. So therefore, that is the logic of the movie. That's what I'm saying.
All right. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. I don't know if I agree with it, but
you just didn't like it.
I didn't. I thought it was silly. I thought if that's the case, then you need to have some kind of, even a line of dialogue that explains what's happening, because that decision with no, like, out of context, having just seen the other guy change into a brain thirsty zombie, it makes it more confusing, in my opinion.
It also would have been
it shouldn't be up for interpretation.
It also would have been a good scene because you just kind of see him sneak out while they're fighting the boyfriend.
Yeah, dives out there.
You could easily miss it.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to him. Like, I feel like it could be so confusing if you didn't see that. And it could have been interesting if they chased him and he closed himself in that room and they were like, just come out. We're not going to hurt you. And he's like, it's fine. I can do this. Like, I'm going to take care of it.
Yeah. It's a 90-minute film. They had a little bit of extra runtime if they wanted to.
You could add 30 seconds of a conversation.
They had time to recycle an entire scene.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
But what about the rest of the punks? I mean,
hand acting, Night of the Living Dead. I'm gonna give a shout out to that. Just
hand acting,
hands reaching through and groping at things. Hey, that's work.
I mean, they did it on Return too, though.
They did both movies. Way to go, both movies. Hand actors.
I mean, I'm gonna say Knight loses points for hand acting because
those scenes
no one knows
bothered
how to
me
punch.
so. Where Ben is like sticking the gun in and they're grabbing at it and he's not shooting anything. Like those were so annoying. I hated those fucking scenes.
Yeah, there should have been more shooting in the face.
Yeah,
but it's hard to do with their effects budget, I think, because they would have had to actually shoot an extra in the face.
That's true. But I mean, extras are expendable. It doesn't matter.
Look,
they're willing to set them on fire, shoot one in the face.
But I thought there were a lot of. They introduced this. There were like 7 punk gang members, And
Something like that.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bunch
I
of
guess
them,
so.
actually 4 of them are still alive when the movie ends until the bomb drops.
Yeah. The nuclear artillery shell was a weird thing.
It didn't make any sense.
No.
It wasn't an artillery cannon. It was a tank.
It was a tank.
It was a rail gun, is what it was. Like a literal. It moves around on railroad tracks because it's so big.
No, I think it was a tank.
No, it was on railroad tracks.
Yeah, but the barrel wasn't big enough to launch a nuke.
No, not at all.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's an artillery piece. Yeah.
But even artillery pieces are much bigger if you're going to shoot it. Anyway, it didn't make any sense. But
because it shoots at what, like 135 miles or something?
yeah,
Yeah, I could do that.
And a tank can do that?
It wasn't a tank. It was a rail
I'm
artillery piece.
certain it was a tank.
It was not a
tank.
tank.
Take it from me with my expertise
extensive knowledge
in military.
A rail gun that the U.S. military never possessed. But yeah,
it was a tank though.
I'm going to take it from our fucking nerdy as fuck Sean friend here.
All right. Well,
so overall, I mean, I thought there were actually good performances in both.
Yeah,
and they were both. The thing is, I think the corny performances in Return were somewhat intentional. Like, clearly the punk kids were supposed to be...
yeah,
They were supposed to be the teens in a horror movie.
Top. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And the sexy one has to die horribly.
I mean, that was a lot. But kudos to her for committing to being naked for an entire movie.
And to being told, can you hold your arms up in this shot so your boobs are up higher?
hey, you know what? I'm pretty sure that woman paid a lot for her boobs. She was probably happy to show them off.
Sure, yeah. It got her a movie.
Probably her. Can you look up if she ever did another movie?
Sure.
Look up Trash. Who played Trash?
Look up nude trash.
Nude Trash.
Look up Boob Girl.
But you know what? I mean, coming from Brampton, I know a lot of women who are the exhibitionist type. I mean, you've met a couple of them, Jack.
What the fuck?
What? So that character rang true to me.
This is...
And oh my goodness!
All right, so Linnea Quigley in 10 seconds.
She has an Oscar.
She is known as the like scream queen. She mostly does horror. She has been doing horror up until now. Yeah, 2020.
I'm gonna make it stop.
She's been doing horror up until 2020. She's still doing it?
Still doing horror.
Oh my god. Yeah, can you imagine if she's still the naked woman in horror movies?
I don't think she is.
She'd be like 75 now.
She is a producer, model, actor, and...
what does she look like now?
She looks like...
Show it to the mic.
That.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
An aged version of what she was.
That tracks... That says in 2007, though.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
right, she's dead now.
But that tracks a lot. Okay, well, thanks so much. We're going to take a quick commercial break. But first, here are first impressions of Return of the Living Dead. See you soon.
So what did you think?
I thought it was grotesque and fun.
I was surprised that the boobies didn't have a more pivotal role in the movie.
It's true, yeah.
They were really leaning into them having like an important part, and then they did come back.
Yeah, there was no character development for the boobies.
That's definitely true.
That's not entirely true. I think that the boobies on Trash contributed to Trash's character arc. From trash human to trash zombie.
To trash panda?
Anyway, so as I was saying, Sean, you need to dance for me more.
Is that you coming back from our break? Okay. We're sorry we don't have video for this episode. We're leaning off of those for just a little bit as we get back into this season. But yeah, we'll upload a special video at some point. Once we have a Patreon or something, we'll have releasable footage of Sean dancing. It's a treat.
Sure. If you donate $10,000 to us,
or
make it 10,
or like $10.
no,
$10.
My dancing is worth $10,000.
Believe me, Sean, it isn't.
Wow.
If you have like 50 cents, we'll send you a video.
Buy me a coffee. I'll put a webcam in Sean's bedroom.
Already got one. Wait.
So let's jump into our fifth round, which is a shorter one. Which is this? Do we have this kind of ready?
Oh yeah, that's right.
But it's just a quick 5-minute round to quickly discuss our fourth category, which is rewatchability.
It gets its own round now.
Boom.
Oh my god.
I hate it.
That blew up the sound. I think it's way too close. It's so loud now.
Rewatchability.
I can replace it. It's
I agree
fine.
with it. But it's around that we wanted to kind of give its own little quick little moment because we realized it is actually really important. And in terms of our goofy podcast where we talk about movies, that it has merit of its in and of itself. That the ability to say this movie is closer to being the movie that I would put in my rewatching movie catalog deserves a bit of a talking space. I mean, not to spoil it, I don't know how much I want to watch Night of the Living Dead again. I've seen parts of it before, and it's like a neat history piece, but like now that I've read that textbook, as it were, it's like
that's fair.
You know what I mean? It's not like I'm gonna go back again and be like, oh, I want to.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Is that it's interesting to see the progenitor of the zombie genre. Did I use that right?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Great.
I'm just mad that I taught you that word today.
Progenitor.
But with what we have at our disposal for zombie stuff now, why would you ever go back and watch it again? Like it's a cool lesson in history.
Yeah.
But also so fucking boring.
Yeah, like,
but it's not
if you love
fully
zombie
boring.
films. If you love zombie films, watch it because you gotta. If you love zombie films,
watch it so you know where
you
know where zombies come from. Yeah. But I wouldn't say it needs a rewatch. I would rewatch Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Over and over again. I think that's actually going in my catalog for movies that I will rewatch and recommend to people.
Totally.
Yeah, if someone were to be like, "Oh, I love zombie movies," I'd be like, "You must love Return of the Living Dead," and they'd probably be like, "Yes, I do."
I would,
or what is that? Because no one's ever fucking heard of it.
Yeah,
which is weird.
Maybe, yeah.
I would put Night of the Living Dead on at a Halloween party where they just want a movie playing in the background.
If you had like a projector, and you could project it not even cleanly onto a wall, but it overlaps onto the furniture a bit, and there's no sound.
Yeah, you have a TV on that wall that you don't move, and you project onto it.
And you live in a loft. Oh, I love this for you.
Yeah,
this would be a great look for you, Sean. By the way,
you'd also be putting the progenitor on a projector.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you gonna put that in post too? Your drum roll?
No, I just did it with my mouth.
Okay, cool.
So for me, I definitely would lean more towards. No, we're not. No. I would lean more towards Return. Just because I don't know, Night. It's just it spins its wheels. It's that thing where it's so early on that at the time it would have been enough maybe to captivate people, but it's that tricky thing that now, given the perspective of what we've been able to see, a single episode of any zombie show is I mean, I don't want to speak. Actually, there's some pretty boring episodes of The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
but
there's seasons that are probably worse than Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, that whole farm season. But that whole farm season essentially is Night of the Living Dead.
Right.
So.
Also, watch Black Summer on Netflix.
Don't watch Black Summer.
What is Black Summer?
Black Summer is a zombie TV show with a good
Kelsey.
friend of mine, or ours. I do know. You know Kelsey.
I don't. He's not a friend.
He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, Kelsey.
Yeah, I met him and then I watched Black Summer with you, and it was fucking. Season 2's out. We gotta watch
Season 2 is out. I mean, full disclosure, I watched about 10 minutes of the first episode of season 2, and I was like, let's see what else is on Netflix.
Kelsey's not in it anymore, right?
Spoilers, he is briefly, what?
Et by a zombie?
So watch season 2 of Black Summer on Netflix. It's great. Kelsey Flower, we love you. Come to the pod sometime.
Yeah, please.
Watch him on Black Summer. Anyways.
Do you know Carrie Elwes?
Oh, I forgot about Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, we have that thing going.
Right. Do we still have that thing going?
I don't know.
We'll make subtle pushes. We'll ramp it up at some point and make it.
We got to win him with honey rather than force. You know.
I feel like at this point, I want to make it aggressive that either he blocks us or he comes on the podcast.
You want to harass him?
I want to use our new clout as a podcast with ads.
So none.
Can we run ads that are directed at Carrie Elwes?
We can put them in if we want.
Can we just do a whole section where we read
that?
Ads?
If specifically Carrie Elwes watches, it's like, "Hi Carrie, thanks for listening. Why aren't you on us yet?" Oh, great. So
Having fun.
so we're gonna do our bonus round here. Actually, no, we do our scoring first, and then there's a wild card round, which is a new thing. It should be a lot of fun. So
I love when we find our way through the format of the show on the show.
look,
I love it.
I know you do.
I love it.
people love whose line is it anyway. They love spontaneity. They love
And we're as talented as them.
yeah. Sean's a regular Colin Styles. And Dan, you're
Why are you
like,
looking at me like
you're
I'm
like
gonna
you're the Wayne
contribute
Brady.
You're the Drew Carey.
I would for sure.
Oh, you look so hurt.
I mean, Drew Carey's a fucking number. I'm okay with Drew Carey.
Okay.
He's rich,
Yeah, very rich.
and he hosts The Price Is Right.
He does.
He does.
Which is how he's rich.
I think he was rich before that, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he probably, but now he's
He did his own
richer.
show for a long time, and he was lying.
It's pretty good.
It actually was pretty good. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Drew
Well, not to-
Carey, if you like movies,
Come on, Drew.
Hashtag.
Hashtag come on, Drew. So let's score these movies and find out which one is going to be declared the winner this week. So let's start with story. And I know again I've been teased a lot in the past for being kingmaker, so I will start
thank you.
at least this episode.
Yeah.
And then before I
Revert back to your old ways.
I want to say relapse into my old ways.
Sure. Yeah.
It's more of an addiction than, than a habit, right? So, in terms of story, I'm actually going to give my vote to Night.
Me too.
Yeah. Sorry, Sean jumped the gun there. Sorry, Dan.
that's okay.
Who was your vote for?
I have to go with Return.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why? In a nutshell. Keep it brief here.
I appreciated. I mean, both are silly premises. I'm a sucker for premise. I appreciated the attempt at a more scientifically sound explanation in Return. And
Space radiation.
Yeah.
that was Night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Space radiation.
Yeah, that's a winner for you. Space radiation is better than.
It's really not that seals it for me.
But that's the story. That's the only story in that movie.
No, the story is also like just like what happens beat to beat. Like I thought it is actually a pretty grounded story.
Clearer.
It's clear. It's people hiding in a farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
but that's the thing. It's clear because there's like 4 beats in that movie.
yeah, but
Zombie hits, people hide in a house,
It's classic.
zombies break in, those people die, someone gets lynched.
It's classic.
That's classic.
it's the '60s. But the newscasts and stuff that we talked about, like it just felt like overall like. Whereas I really do appreciate camp a lot, and I appreciated it in Return.
Love me some camp.
Yeah, but it was built on pretty flimsy. Like it almost had the Benny Hill theme underneath it at times, as they were like trying to board up. Like it's just I don't know. It was
like Airplane meets Return of the Living Dead. Right?
Yeah, it was just a bit self-conscious. Like as much as I can laugh at them playing the music anytime the zombies tried to break in, it was also the movie like being. Again, I'll use the word self-conscious of kind of what it was. Whereas Night of the Living Dead felt just a bit more embodied in terms of what it was doing.
But that
for me,
that is less. What you're talking about isn't story. What you're talking about is production choices. That there's a difference.
No, the script was written well.
Yeah,
in terms of
I know
beats.
I mentioned like the music, but I'm talking about. I am still trying to talk about like how it was.
This was not supposed to be a debate.
I know you guys are giving me fucking hives right now. Okay, let's move on. We can agree to disagree.
All right.
And keep this thing going. I have no respect for your
People
decisions.
want to fight. It's a boxing match. So, moving into production.
Let's.
This one for me is a for sure Return.
Yeah, there's no need to discuss that. It's,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
obvious.
Agreed.
The production value is far higher, and they just
Yeah.
made better choices.
And it's pretty low budget, kind of weak sauce. In Night, it makes it work the best it can.
Yeah.
best it can. But
It's got cool moments.
It's got cool
the
moments.
meat eating, eating the meat at the
and
end.
that
It's
one
creepy.
shot even of the devoured face upstairs.
Yeah, it was good.
In the shadow is great, but there's a lot of really.
But it's overshadowed
Yeah.
by Return.
Just that one scene with the half corpse is
Yep.
where they pin her and drag her in.
Yeah,
And tie her
it reminded me of The Thing a lot, actually. Some of the animatronics and the gore and stuff. So I wonder if there's some design team overlap between these films.
I mean, totally possible, right?
Yeah. Well, that was easy.
Beep bap boop.
Beep, bap, boop.
Acting. Again, I'll keep leading, and I'm giving this one to Return.
Yes.
Yeah, ditto.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
Boom.
Great. Enough said, I guess.
This is more how I saw this going. I'm happy. Okay, continue.
Okay. As long as you're happy, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
when he's not happy, he debates it.
Yeah, of course. Why would I debate it if I'm happy?
Well, because you're a progenitor.
Yeah.
Ask your doctor about progenitor.
Rewatchability. As I kind of hinted already, that's for me is going to be Return.
Yeah.
It's just,
Absolutely.
It's just more fun.
I kind of want to watch it again, like right now.
Yeah.
I probably could put it on
Yeah,
again.
it's just a
I've had
fucking
another
fun-ass
drink.
movie.
Good too.
Yeah.
I will say, the first time I saw Night of the Living Dead, we watched the movie and then we watched it again, but we put the George A. Romero commentary on while we watched it.
Oh.
And it's a laugh riot because it's just
Really?
it's him and someone else just talking about the production the efforts they went through and like
Was it a nightmare shooting that thing?
I don't remember the specific. I was like 12, 13 when we watched it, right? But I remember it's funny enough that like 13-year-old Sean was like laughing uproariously.
Oh, I'm down for that.
So like that, I think that's the way you watch Night of the Living Dead right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We should do like that commentary versus Island of Dr. Moreau commentary.
Yeah, sure.
Ooh,
Like the doc about it.
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, that's already pretty telling, but let's jump into this wild card round just to see how all the points fall. And so this new wild card, we're picking the movies together now. We're not going to surprise each other. We're going to make sure that we hopefully have solid movie choices every week for y'all. But what we do want to pass around is this chance to pick a wild card. So I'm picking this week. And my wild card.
Can't wait for this to make fucking no sense. Okay, go ahead.
No, this one's pretty good.
Is it okay?
This one's pretty good, I think.
Okay.
You have to watch the movies, and then I had to like take a second and pick one specifically for these movies, which is which movie would you rather experience as an immersive VR? Or as an immersive VR experience.
Ooh, that's a good one. I thought you were gonna go like the stupid route, but that's actually a good question.
Yeah, I wanted to actually pose like one that
that
was
is good.
Yeah.
kind of neat. And I don't fully know the answer for myself either, so I wanted to kind of
Is the
solidify
VR
it.
for Night in black and white?
Oh,
I want to
good
say
question.
yes.
Okay.
I want to say yes. Which I think could add to it.
I think I'd do
that
Night.
would add to it. Yeah, I think I would do. Because if you do Night, I mean, I think there's too much happening in Return of the Living Dead.
It's a headache.
Yeah, Night is kind of like a virtual escape room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be very suspenseful.
Yeah. That would.
Anytime
that would
you
be,
look out of the windows, yeah.
Yeah, you could actually shoot the gun. You know?
If you were to like influence the story, that'd be nice.
I mean, I will say.
You're Barbara. Sorry.
Oh, I got Barbara.
Oh, damn it.
There's no candy. Yeah,
Johnny.
I think I'd go Night. I mean, to be fair, I've played the virtual version of that game a million times.
Right.
Right.
You played
Nazi
Call of
zombies.
Duty, yeah.
Nazis.
Yeah,
COD
it's-
zombies.
It's the exact same thing, but I mean, I love those games. Yeah, that's good fucking question.
Hey, thanks. You know, I
was good.
took 12 seconds to think about it.
I promise you, when it's my turn, it's not going to be anywhere near.
I
as good.
hope they get just so stupid.
Oh,
from here.
they're going to.
Oh, yeah.
Just
yeah.
wait.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to start us off on a medium. But I would also probably choose. I mean, there could be something fun, like the movement of Return. Could be fun, like if you started in you're in the warehouse and then you're like moving.
Or the cemetery.
But a fully immersive VR experience.
It would
like,
feel scattered, I guess.
That's
I-
intense.
I've done a
Are
lot-
you the cop?
Have you played VR before?
No, I haven't.
I've done a lot of VR, and that's like you need something a little more low key. Like that fucking shit would be overwhelming. I feel like.
Yeah, I think my vote would also be Night. I think I'd also give it to Night.
Clean sweep of the wild card.
Interesting.
So that means, nonetheless, though, with 3 points to 2, the Citizen Kane of the week is Return of the Living Dead.
Wait, 3 points to 2.
Yeah.
What were the 2 points?
Story and wildcard for.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, fuck me. All right.
Remember?
Yeah. Sorry, the one we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
So congratulations on being better than the thing that inspired you, Return of the Living Dead. You did it. And next week, we have a couple more spoopy Halloween movies, do we not, Sean?
Yes, we do. They are linked by taking place at a camp. So therefore, it is Friday the 13th in the classic slot, taking on Sleepaway Camp in the schlock.
I have no fucking idea what Sleepaway Camp is.
I look forward to us being like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we will absolutely
Great.
be like,
Is-
what the fuck?
Have you seen it?
I've seen
never
Friday the
seen
13th, actually. It's actually decently scary.
Yeah, I've never seen that one. I've never seen Sleepaway Camp. There was just a phase in early high school where all my friends watched it at a sleepover I wasn't invited to, and then would not shut up about it. So
Okay.
So it's just haunted you for your entire adult life.
So this is you getting back at them
Yeah.
by watching it with your friends and not inviting
I have
them.
a successful podcast.
Fuck you, Jeremy Comden, who lives on 242
I'm coming for you. I mean,
Wildwood
yeah.
Road. So those are our movies for next week.
There's the movies.
So Friday the 13th versus Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp.
Is it a scary movie?
Yeah, I think it's like a thriller slasher kind of thing.
We'll find out.
You guys will find
It's
out.
like a full comedy.
It might be.
It's like that camp movie with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Perfect.
He might be in it as a young boy.
Or am I thinking of something else?
A camp movie with Ben Stiller?
Wasn't it with Ben Stiller? There's some movie that I watched, I think, as a kid a lot about kids at summer camp. And I feel like he was in it as like a counselor.
Oh no.
Oh, man, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Right?
Yeah.
And they had like those shots. It was really big in the 90s of the kids in their summer camp, and they had that big, like, where like someone jumps on it, and it's a big inflatable thing, and it launches people off the other side into the water. It was one of those movies. I think it was about kids losing weight. I don't know.
Fat Camp.
What's it called? Fat Camp?
I mean,
I don't know.
Probably
no
not.
comment.
Yeah, but that definitely is a movie that would
It's a Ben
exist.
Stiller film from the 90s.
In the 90s, yeah, 100%.
That sounds familiar.
If it's
right?
not, it,
Fat
like,
Camp
we
starring
have to go
Ben
back
Stiller.
in time and make
Man.
him do it.
I'm gonna look this up as soon as the podcast is over. And we don't really have a way to leave the podcast.
I was going to say
anymore,
just
but-
before we have ads now. Sorry, as we said before, but if you hear any ads that are for things that like are terrible, let us know.
Yeah.
So that we can tell them not to put those ads on it.
Yeah.
Like Justin Trudeau or like the People's Party of Canada, any of that bullshit, or like Raytheon weapons guidance systems. Let's stay away from that.
Yeah.
Do those run ads?
Probably.
We only want Progenitor
Yeah, only
and their
progenitor.
subsidiaries.
Yeah.
But if you do let the ads play, it makes us a few cents. So, if it's no problem with you. Anyway, maybe a beatbox of like abrupt end. Goodbye.